What's up, tea drinkers? Who's ready to spill? Welcome to The Tea with KG, hosted by your girl, Kaylee Grace. Here you'll find your weekly boost of real talk mixed with laughter, healing, and all of those vulnerable, messy moments in between. The Tea with KG is a safe space for you to show up exactly as you are. We are here to share real-life stories from around the globe and be a community of love, joy, and celebrating life. This is a real deal show, so there will be coarse language and sensitive topics discussed. The most beautiful stories oftentimes emerge from the darkest of places, and we're here to explore it all. There's room for everyone at this tea time, so grab your drink of choice, spark it up, or just relax and soak it up. Cheers, and let's spill. What's up, tea drinkers? We are back with another episode of The Tea with KG. I'm your host, Kaylee Grace, and I have another amazing guest joining me this week. We have the lovely Dani Jacobs joining us. Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks. Thanks for having me here. It's an amazing platform to be able to tell my story.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have you. Oh, it's going to be amazing. So, one of my previous guests, Britt, who was on, she connected us, and I'm so glad she did because Dani is honoring me with being able to share her very special story with us. And I'm just really, really honored that you're allowing me to share with people because it's just really important. And I love that you're being open and vulnerable with us. And it's just going to be an amazing conversation. So I'm super excited.
Thanks.
Yeah. So we'll get the who are you and what do you do?
So my name is Dani. I use pronouns either they, them, or she, her. Um, I work construction. That's my daily job. I'm transgender. I guess I should get that out of the way. I'm transgender. I work construction. Um, yeah, I've had lots of hobbies over the years. I've raced motocross, I've raced go-karts, I've
Whoa.
rock
That's
climbed,
so cool.
mountain biking, I do burlesque, I do disco, I got into roller skating.
Wow.
I have lots of other hobbies that I'm into, but yeah, that's pretty much
That's cool.
just
You were like an adventurous soul, you're creative, you're in burlesque, you've got it all. I love that. That's
yeah,
super cool.
fun to have a lot of diverse hobbies. Just
Preach on
lots,
that.
yeah, because
Yeah, because you gain different things from each of those. I think it fills your soul in a different way. I love that.
well, for sure, yeah, you get burned out of one thing and you can hop onto another one and you get tired of that
Yeah.
else or yeah.
I feel you there. Dancing never gets old though. Dancing is just so good for the soul. Makes me so happy.
Yeah, I'm not really much of a dancer. I'm really awkward. If you I kind of had this thing where I kind of pictured myself as a cross between if Violet Chachki and Pee Wee Herman had a baby,
I have the perfect visual right now.
but more on the Pee Wee Herman side. Yeah,
Violet Chachki, what a queen.
yeah.
She's amazing.
He was in Vancouver. What was it? 2019, 2020, 2019. Yeah, that was so good. I saw it up close personal. I was like the
Wow.
tallest one because I'm 6'8" in heels. Video of it all, and yeah, I was just that was for Pride. So it was in the middle
Oh,
of
that's
the,
amazing.
yeah. So they were there with Alaska and Bob the drag queen.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, iconic.
it was
That is
really.
so cool.
And I did see who's the comedy queen. She's super hilarious. But I saw her at the
Bianca
yes,
Del Rio.
yes. Yeah, my friend
Yeah.
Kels and her friend took me to that, I guess, a couple
Oh
months ago.
my God, she is so funny. Oh, that would have been so good.
Yeah, it was beyond, yeah, it was one of the best shows for sure.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. And like I've said this so many times on different episodes, but like drag is just joy to me. Like it's just so much happy energy and it's just like you can't be mad in that environment. It's just like all love and it's just the best.
Yeah, I never actually got to watch Drag Race. I only saw season 8 because that was the only
Mhm.
Netflix had
Yeah.
on TV, which was interesting because Bob the drag queen, when they came to Vancouver, um, she was saying that, oh, everyone in Vancouver loves me. Everyone in Canada basically was like the top drag queen. And then later she found out that it's only because we had season 8, and that's the only one we had, so we only knew her. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny. She's really funny too. I love the humor. It's so
Yeah.
good. It's just like we were saying, it's so multifaceted. Like there's so much you can pull from it. Like, whether it be for me, the stories, like the inspiration, that just gets me like so hard. But then, there's the beautiful, the fashion, the acting, the dancing, the singing, everything. It's just so good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely, it was a bit of an outlet for me when I first started. Yeah. It was just
Yeah,
kind of a, yeah. And I think it's really, the drag is really good in, I think that it's becoming more mainstream because it's getting people
absolutely.
talking a lot more and making
Oh,
it
yeah.
easier for everyone in the community, whether they be like queer, trans,
Hmm.
e- every
I
aspect.
agree 100%. I love that you said that. It's so true. It's like, it just brings light to this amazing, beautiful community. I just think it's so great.
Yeah, yeah, no. So 2018, I went to DragCon in LA. So I flew.
What? Oh my God. Tell me everything.
So, and I didn't know anybody. I went down there with my friend Marissa from Memphis and her wife, and yeah, we met down there, and yeah, I didn't know anybody except for season 8 people.
Yeah,
And yeah, it was just a good time because it was an outlet for me to be myself, where I never really had that around here. Well, I had it,
absolutely.
but it was just fun. Yeah, and then I went back again in 2019. I just did a solo trip, and
Hmm.
I basically stayed right across from the convention center, so I saw everyone walking in. So I just walked from my front door to their front door,
That's
and
perfect.
yeah, and it was an amazing trip because I have lots of friends down there now, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then I was thinking about going in 2020, but I had a lot going on, and I'm really
Yeah.
glad I didn't buy flights because that
The whole world
getting
had a
pulled in.
moment.
Yeah, the good thing about the pandemic was that that's kind of when I knew that I had to transition to.
Oh
So
my gosh. Okay, let's dive right in. Let's get the story.
so basically, I knew I've been like this my whole life, just kind of
Hmm.
um yeah, because I'm in that generation where I never had um the internet or anything like that. So growing up, there was no resources for me, and there was a lot of
Yeah.
ignorance out there towards everything. And
Hmm.
yeah, so I was basically growing up as a child. I kind of realized that I would be bullied or not accepted, and
Yeah.
yeah, and it was hard, but at the same time, um, yeah, I just lived my life, and
Yeah.
so it wasn't. I hear people who have like major dysphoria growing up,
Hmm.
and for me, it wasn't really like that. I kind of knew what I wanted and stuff, and it wasn't really a reality for me, kind of.
Okay.
But even going through high school, there's a trans person, Carolyn Cossey, who was basically one of the famous um, trans people at the time, and
Hmm.
so and I believe they transitioned at an earlier age. And I kind of figured that, oh, maybe I'll be in like that same, have the same timelines as them, as her.
Yeah.
And yeah, as I got older and older, it just didn't happen. And I mean, I didn't get the internet till like later on in life, like in my
Hmm.
20s, basically. And
Yeah.
even then, I kind of got into rock climbing, and it was amazing because rock climbing was the first time that actually I found friends who were they're just freaking amazing. Like my
Yeah.
friends, they're basically my family. Um,
I love
I
that.
I have so many friends out there. They knew nothing about me,
Hmm.
but yeah, I just felt you could just feel the love from everybody, kind of like everyone just.
Yeah.
I just did my rock climbing, and I'd be like out climbing on the walls, wishing that I was basically a girl. Yeah, so I just kind of climbing was another outlet for me that is an amazing time in my life. I loved it. It was good. Um, So I climbed lots and had a great friends all over the place. We did lots of stuff, road trips. We all started mountain biking together. We did like everything together. I mean,
Amazing. It was like your chosen family, like your
yeah,
bond. I love that.
yeah, and I mean, I could call up probably the people that I I met in like the first 2 years of climbing that I haven't really talked to for 20 years or whatever. I could probably
Mhm.
call them up and it'd be like nothing. It's just
Yes, I love that. Those connections, you can't, they're just so natural and real. Those, I live for connections like that.
yeah. I yeah, got into the climbing and everything, and then um yeah, no, I struggled a lot, and eventually it was interesting because I was at home one day and I was reading the local paper, and there was a trans person from, I forget where they were even from, um, but I saw their name and everything. So I'm on Facebook. I'm like, I'm gonna Google up their name or Facebook up their
Yeah.
name, whatever. And so I'm like fully creeping out their profile, and I was just kind of like, oh, this is interesting, whatever. And then I saw one of their friends was trans, and I clicked on that friend, and then it was just like a wormhole of like all of these
Yeah.
people, and it just opened up a world for me. Yeah,
Wow. Did
for a
you
bit.
connect with all of them? Like, did you message them or just you just
There,
like looked at their profiles?
there's actually one person who I think is a very it was the second person that I saw, Cadence. I ended up becoming friends on Facebook. We've met a couple of I've met some.
Cool.
She was at her work and stuff like that, just in passing and stuff.
Yeah.
Other than that, I met tons of people online in LA and
Mhm.
just all over the world, and it's
That's
amazing.
so cool.
So one of my best friends in the community, well, someone who's close to me, lives in Memphis, Marissa.
Mhm.
He is neat because we both kind of started the same. We kind of had sort of parallel lives where we
Ooh.
our lives the same way. We just everything was kind of
Aligned.
sort of
Yeah.
parallel. Yeah. I mean, she went on HRT, and I'm like, oh, I'm not ready. 6 months later, I'm on HRT, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's neat
You're
because we can talk about anything.
absolutely. And like, you know, you're going through this together and like it's so good to have that support. And like you're saying, it doesn't matter where in the world you are. It's a beauty we can connect virtually, which is great.
Yeah, no, so that's kind of how that was. And but going back, I guess, yeah, when I was on the Facebook, I ended up connecting with all these people, and that's how I had my name Dani Jacobs, which is like my stage name. That's kind of how it's how a lot of people know me now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I had that, and I ended up connecting with these two friends in Seattle. This was before my wife even knew anything about me. Like, I guess I was experimenting in my gender, so I was more like dressing up and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Kind of like my outlet. So
Yeah, for sure.
I met these friends in Seattle, and we kind of connected, and they're like, "Oh, you should come over and see us, whatever." And it was just at that time. That was in September. I think it was 2015, maybe.
Okay.
And we connected online, and they kind of helped me so that I could actually come out to my wife.
Hmm.
And so I remember having kind of the conversation with her. I actually
Yeah.
wrote a letter on the computer because it's hard, and I basically
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
some stuff and whatnot, and I said, hey, I got some stuff on the computer. I want you to read. And I kind of went away. She read it one time, and I'm like, my heart's pounding or whatever.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Basement. I have a little climbing wall there. I was just like down there for like an hour or two, just
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah. Anyway, I just went upstairs after, and like nothing happened. Kind of went to bed, and was like, yeah,
Okay.
did you read this? And yeah, and she just kind of she's like, yeah, I read it. It's like we don't have to talk about it. Yeah, and she's just like, oh yeah, we can, and we did, and yeah, and she's just okay with it, like with the dress
Wow.
stuff. So she didn't know
Yeah.
anything about the trans issues, which nobody really did, and I hadn't really planned on transitioning or anything like that. That was just something
Mhm.
that was in my head. Yeah,
Yes.
but anyway, fast forward, it had nothing to do with this, but me and her, we we separated. Just
Yeah.
we're still friends. She's an amazing person, and
Yeah.
yeah, we have a good relationship. She's still my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like some people are in your lives for just a portion and it doesn't make them any less important. It just that part of your journey was meant for that and now it's a different part. So I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
great that you guys
So
are still close.
yeah, so we're still close, and I'm close with all of her family and cousins and all
Yeah.
that stuff, which is amazing. And yeah, so anyway, so it's good. I had a few. Oh, actually, when I came out to her, she's just like, "Oh, do you ever want to go out or anything like that?" And I think it was New Year. It was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. New Year's Eve, I think, is when she kind of found out. And then I kind of showed her my Facebook profile and everything. Showed her
Hmm.
all friends that I had and stuff. It's like, "Oh, are you friends with anybody?" And I kind of showed the friends, and then she's like,
Yeah.
long story short, we ended up going to Seattle for my first time out. Um, 6 weeks later, on Valentine's Day, she's like, "Let's go to Seattle," and we went.
Let's do it.
Yeah, first time she saw me dressed up or anything like
Oh,
that,
that's amazing.
and yeah, and it was good. Yeah, and
That's
then
so good. What did you guys do? Where'd you go?
we went to a drag show on I forget what the neighborhood is called, but it's kind of like the gay neighborhood there.
Yeah.
So we went to a drag show there, and it was super fun. My friend, I met someone who I still am connected with, Carla, did my makeup.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
and yeah, so it was my first time having makeup done.
How did
So
that feel?
yeah, it was neat just because my wife was there, like poking her head in the door back and forth. And yeah, yeah, and it was a fun night out, and yeah, it happened. And we came home, and there was a few times I met some people. I ended up going out in Vancouver, not
Mhm.
very often, maybe once every couple months or something like that, with some other groups of people, whatever. And yeah, so it didn't really I didn't go out a lot,
Yeah,
but it was enough to be like a little outlet for me. Yeah, but still,
absolutely.
my friends, nobody knew, so I was like hiding, and yeah,
Mhm.
and I like this big kind of secret sort of thing that I
Yeah.
and that was 2015, 16, I believe.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So then, yeah, so we kind of had, yeah, it was good because I could have explore and stuff like that.
Yeah.
2016 had some stuff happen. My dad passed away and stuff.
Oh,
2017 was that year that we separated ways or
yeah.
and that's when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go out and do stuff. And I actually ended up right after we separated in September, I ended up going to Fan Expo. And,
Okay.
and I was like, I'm just gonna go out there with my friend and just, I don't know, see what's out there. So I bought a ticket,
Mhm.
went not dressed up as anything, just as in total boy mode.
Yep.
And yeah, and I got there and I saw how much fun they were having. And I was just like, these are a bunch of weirdos and I love it.
Yes.
And it was,
This is where I need to be.
yeah. So that night I actually figured out a costume for the next year. So I made a Cruella de Vil costume.
You made it?
Well, sorry, my friend Wendy made me a Cruella jacket. I bought all of the fur and
Yeah.
custom made one.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I love custom anything and like being creative like that. I think that is so cool.
Yeah, so that was fun. So I went. So the next year I went as Cruella. And my friend went as Poison Ivy.
Oh
And
my God. I need to see pictures. That sounds epic.
yeah, it was so good. And yeah, everyone was just taking pictures and like stopping us. It was such a good feeling. So yeah, there was that. And then so I had a few outlets. And then but I used to go to drag shows all of the time. Not all of the
Mhm.
time, but when I would go to the drag shows,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'd go see the drag queens, and I became friends with a few of them. There's
Mhm.
some amazing people out there, um,
Yeah.
but I found myself going to the drag shows and feeling pretty isolated still because I'd
Okay.
be in full on drag, and basically they were in gay bars,
Mhm.
and it was a place that so I wasn't gay at the
Mhm.
time, not that it matters or anything like that,
Mhm.
but it's kind of like, okay, I'm in this place, so I'm not there meeting people. The only other people there really dressed up and stuff um are the drag performers, and there's
Right.
like stagettes and stuff there which were super fun and cool. So
Yeah.
lots of party, but it just didn't really seem like a fit for me. Kind
Mm-hmm.
of. I enjoyed going to the show. They're great shows and everything, but
Yeah.
it was just just wasn't feeling it. And there's even one time where I went to the show and the drag queens they were a little bit snobby.
Oh,
So
I don't like that. No
yeah,
need.
so I remember I went to a show and like I'm 6'8" in heels, and I'm
You're a
standing there.
tall drink of water.
Yeah, and like all these queens were walking by and didn't really say anything to me. But I remember it was actually a total awesome validation for me. But I remember this one queen came by and she gave me like the biggest smile. So I'm down. I'm just like, this sucks. I was totally down.
Oh,
This big queen came by, gave me like a big smile, pat on the shoulder, and just kind of,
yeah.
yeah, you're like part of this kind of thing, right?
Gave you
So
that reassurance. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah, and that was Kendall Gender did that.
Oh
So
my God. Oh
yeah,
my God. Okay. Like I said, I'm still new to Vancouver. Like
yeah,
it's only been a year and a half. Haven't seen Kendall in person, but watched her on Canada's Drag Race. And I mean, with TV, you always have to take it with a grain of salt when you're watching. But her personality, like just so kind and sweet. And your story just
yeah.
confirmed all of the things I felt watching her. Oh, I
Well,
love that. She just
you're
seems so genuine.
he is super genuine. Like, yeah, just
Oh,
the sweetest person. And there's so many amazing queens out there. Like
yeah.
that was just one little experience of my own and kind of
Mhm.
my vulnerability, I guess, of kind of.
Absolutely.
But then I ended up getting into the burlesque community. Uh,
Cool. Okay, how did this happen? Tell me.
well, I ended up taking lessons with my basically one of my best friend right now, who
Cool.
is she was teaching me lessons, and yeah, I just ended up getting into. I was taking privates because I wanted to learn how to dance,
Yes.
and then I ended up taking one of her. It was a class at a community center, so I
Okay,
liked
cool.
that well, and I was kind of like, okay, this is all right. I'm just kind of learning how to dance a little bit, and then I
Yeah.
ended up going to the Vancouver Burlesque Festival, so the one
Mhm.
that Britt was on the board with, and
Yeah.
yeah, and I was just there, and I'm all like glammed up, and everyone was
Mhm.
like, the happiest place in the world,
Oh,
and
I love that.
accepted me, and it was just like, yeah, coming up to me, and yeah, it just felt so good, and
I've
I was
got
just
like tears in my eyes right now. I'm
yeah,
feeling this.
but yeah,
I
and I
love
just felt
that.
like, wow, these are like my people, and
Yeah.
it to be around that. So then, yeah, I had a lot of issues going on around then, but yeah, I ended up still taking classes with my friend Chastity, and
Yeah.
she's been amazing through this whole basically my whole journey. And yeah,
Mhm.
it's like she's basically one of my rocks of just like,
Yes. One of your
oh
earth angels. I
yeah,
love that.
yeah. So yeah, I was taking lessons, and then I also was taking classes with April Appeal,
Okay.
doing like confidence and creativity, I believe it was, and a couple of
Yeah. That
classes.
sounds awesome.
So they're big group classes, and they gave me lots of confidence, and got to be with a lot of weird people and met like amazing
Yeah.
friends, and yeah, and it's just like an amazing community that yeah, I just love it so much.
That makes
And
me so happy. And it speaks volumes of the types of people you're getting to surround yourself with. They're just beautiful souls that are just loving and accepting. And that is what I want for this world so much is that just human decency and compassion and openness. Like, let's learn about each other. I just think it's the best.
oh, for sure, yeah, and
Mhm.
like Britt was saying on her podcast, how it's just like a community that accepts all bodies, genders, everything.
Yes.
And yeah, and it's like that. Like I feel zero when I go to a show. I go to a show all dressed up. If I was anywhere but the show, I feel super vulnerable. I go there, I just feel like a rock star. You just kind of well, not so much a rock star, but I just feel like nobody's judging me, and
Yes. Like that makes me so happy. I'm literally like beaming right now because that's what's up. Like that's how it should be all the time, everywhere. But I just love that that safe space exists because it should be everywhere, you know?
Yeah, so that was good. And then so I did all of the classes and stuff like that. And then
Hmm.
shows and everything was amazing. And then COVID hit.
Oh yes.
Boom, everything was just like stopped.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, this shouldn't be too bad. And so I was isolated at home with my dog. And
Yes.
so we were just sitting around. And after I think it was like a week or two in, I was just had this revelation, kind of like, what do I want? Like, if
Yeah.
nobody else is around, like, what do I want for myself if I don't have to care about anybody, friends, family, anything? And I knew I
Yeah.
had a position. And so,
Was it an instant like you just knew you were like, yep, this is it?
oh yeah, yeah. No, I was just
Yeah.
there, and I'm just like, no, this is something that I have to do. And I can't
Hmm.
remember if I booked a doctor's appointment, or I think I actually had an appointment with my doctor anyway at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, by the way, because she had known before, she knew about the drag, how I dressed up and stuff like that. She told me, hey, if you ever want to go on medications and stuff. And at the time, I was just like, yeah, maybe, but I'm not really ready for it. Yeah.
Right.
Now I was just like, hey, those medications, I'm like, I'm ready for it. Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. It's cool too that she spoke to you about that already. Like that's pretty great.
Yeah. It was something that she offered basically when I
Yeah.
about myself. And
Wow.
she's like, oh, I think at the time she said she had 6 patients already who were in some kind of in in some level in the
Hmm.
trans community, um,
Yeah.
hormones and stuff. And I was just like, oh, this is good. Like I feel good about this. And so she hooked me up with Three Bridges in Vancouver. So I got hooked up with the doctor there, and it's neat because my family doctor, she actually did one of her, I don't know, practicums or whatever there. So she actually
Yeah.
Three Bridges for a bit, so she knew about it. And yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
so by the time I talked to her about it, she set me up with appointment Three Bridges. They called me. I had my first appointment 2 weeks, 2 weeks later. After I got some blood tests, I had my second appointment, and then I was on estrogen and blockers. Yeah, 2 months after I talked to her. Yeah,
That's amazing. Like what were your feelings during this time? Like what tell me about that. I'm so
yeah.
curious.
I remember waking up on the couch one day, and I just woke up and thinking like, wow, this is really happening, and it's like the happiest
Yeah.
thing in the world. And at the time, I had a lot of anxiety with me.
Hmm.
So when I had my final doctor's appointment where he actually it was the doctor prescribed the medication for me. So I
Hmm.
went to drugs, filled that prescription like now, and it was it was actually May 27th of 2020. Um,
Amazing.
Wednesday night, and I went and I got the prescription, and I get like a little estrogen patch, is like a half inch by an inch long or something like that, like super
Hmm.
small. And I put that sucker on me. Yeah, and I was like, that night I slept
Here
like
we go.
it was weird. The anxieties were gone because I'd wake up in the mornings,
Yeah.
and as soon as I woke up, it'd just be like, boom, anxiety. After I
Hmm.
did that, I'd wake up in the morning and I didn't have that.
Oh my God, I love that. It's like when you step into your truth, it's like those things in your body get released. It's like a release of what's no longer serving you. That's amazing.
And it was neat because when I put on the patch too, you shouldn't really feel anything from it, but when I put the patch on, it actually felt almost like it was burning into me, and then it almost felt like somebody punched me there. The second time when I put it on, because I change it twice a week, so I put
Hmm.
it on the other side of me, and it was the same thing. And then after those 2 times, it was nothing. And yeah, and then I think it was over 6 months, they titrated it up from a small dose to where I am now. So now
Okay.
I from my testosterone dropped to basically have like almost nothing, and then my
Okay.
estrogen came up into the middle of the female range right now. So
Cool.
it's all individualized, kind of.
Okay.
So with me, I wanted the slow and steady approach. I told the
Yes.
doctor kind of like, I just want to do this properly, and I'm
Hmm.
not in a huge rush, but I want my goals, but at the same time, I want to do it safely. And I don't just want you to like fill me up with estrogen and just be like, boom.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we started out small with a patch. It's like a 50 microgram patch on me, which now, usually I think it's 400 micrograms, I believe, with patches is kind of like
Hmm.
the they kind of give. So right now I'm on 300 micrograms, which puts me in the
Okay.
range. Yeah, and
Okay, cool.
usually they'll start out somebody on either pills, patches. They don't start out with injections, but there's
Okay.
a bunch of different methods. So that would be the estrogen, and then to block testosterone, they'll usually give you like spirolactane, finasteride, or durastride, I think it's
Hmm.
called. They all kind of do different things. So
Okay, cool.
I'm on a finasteride, which also is supposed to help with hair because it blocks the DHT and the testosterone. So
Okay.
because this is not mine. Yeah, I have like a little topper on here, but yeah. So basically, I have super thin hair up here. Yeah, but yeah. So it actually grows back little baby hair sometimes, or
Wow.
it stops the male pattern baldness. Yeah. So that's what's going on with that.
It's so interesting just because like the way, modern medicine has come, it's just amazing that this is something we can do. It's
Yeah,
great.
and it's neat too because nowadays, so back in the day, had I started like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, I would have had jumped through so many hoops. I'd have to actually live full time as a woman for a year before I could
Right.
any medications. But now they have the informed consent model where
Hmm.
basically they kind of do a couple interviews on me, sort of the doctor and the nurse, and there's like, no, you're good to go kind of thing. Like you
Great.
do this. So yeah, because it really sucks when you have to like dress up as a woman when you have like no estrogen, you just all man features.
Right. Yeah,
And
totally. You want to feel comfortable and you want to, feel good about yourself. Totally.
yeah, and it's different for everybody too. Like
Hmm.
some people who transition they want to, as soon as they're just like, okay, I'm transitioning, they'll like dress all feminine, put on dress makeup, they're going out and they're like presenting right away. Whereas me, I'm just kind of like, I'm in like this slow transition stage where I feel like I've kind of popped the shell off, like
Yeah.
male shell off, but there's still a shell that's kind of growing, the female shell. So I'm kind of like
Yeah.
stuck in this middle area where I'm not really male, but I'm not really female. I'm
Right.
kind of in this like middle. They call it like the awkward stage, sort of. But
Right.
I feel like I myself, um, I feel lucky because I don't really feel it that awkward because of all the people
Hmm.
around. Just
Absolutely.
yeah,
Having that support, right?
yeah, and I'm open to 100% everybody, and
Yes.
like work construction. All my construction peeps know about me
Mhm.
and stuff, and everyone um, is respectful and everything. All my cousins and stuff. I think some people don't really. I don't think they really understand it totally,
Right.
but or not necessarily. They accept it and everything. I think they just don't understand what's going on in my life. Like, because they see,
Right.
they're like, you're transitioning, but you look the same. So it's like, what is happening here?
Hmm.
I don't think they see that it's kind of a slow process to get to the end goal.
Absolutely. And I have respect for a slow process because I feel in general, and I don't know if it's our society or what it is, but it's always go, 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 rush, 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 get this done now. It's like having a slow build is not bad. I think that's good because you really can truly come into your own and get to know what you want exactly without rushing. So I think that's great.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, it works for me. Some people need a quicker thing, and it's like
Yeah, totally.
like I have I have hundreds and hundreds of friends, all in different stages of. Some might be cross-dressed, some are transition, some have transitioned, some are in high,
Yeah.
and I don't really know two friends that are exactly the same. Like,
No, it's so true. Like anyone with in the community who've shared stories with me, everybody's different, and I think that's just the most beautiful thing. Because like even you and I, when we were chatting before we started recording, like while we were still messaging on Instagram, we were talking about that how each journey is truly unique and special, and teach their own. Like what works for you is what works for you, like with anything. So I love that you mentioned that too. Cause yeah, some people, they want hot and heavy. Let's go fast. All right, give her. And that's okay too.
Yeah. So yeah, but it was very interesting sitting in COVID when I first started,
Yeah.
because kind of a lot of people, a lot of trans people have this thing where they're like, oh man, I wish I could just go away for like a couple years and come back as a woman, or go away.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it's kind of like this thing you're kind of like thinking about. It's like, oh, that'd be such a great scenario. Here I'm in the middle of COVID, and I'm like, well, I don't have to see anybody, so
Yeah.
it's kind of the same thing, sort of, but
Hmm.
even
We
though I
were
do,
isolated. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
totally.
good because I'm allowed to be. I have just my own thoughts in my head. I don't have all of society kind of.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't be like, I don't see something and be like, oh, maybe transition isn't the right thing for me because I really enjoy this or whatnot.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's interesting being able to hide a little bit
Yes.
and and be.
And I feel like it was such a time of like self discovery and change for so many people, myself included. Like it it's amazing. And I truly do believe like everything happens in divine timing as and when it should. And when it's right. And you just go for it. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it was a neat process because also I was yeah, while I was in isolation, um yeah, my it took a while, but yeah, my body was like changing and stuff, softening, and
Yeah.
people would notice because I mean, I was getting breast tissue
Mhm.
and like my muscle, everything was like softening. It was interesting
Yeah.
because yesterday I've been on estrogen for 2 years. And I was feeling my cheek and I'm like, oh, my cheek's really fat. I've never noticed. Yeah, it is like the weirdest thing.
Yeah. That's
But
amazing.
then I had to basically tell all my friends and stuff about it
Mhm.
too, which was interesting, because before before COVID, when I was performing, is interesting because I didn't really tell a lot of my performer friends. Obviously knew about me, but
Yeah.
my climber friends and stuff like that, they didn't really know too much about me.
Hmm.
So I remember, my friend, I went hiking. I'm really good friends with her husband. So anyway, I was like, can we go for a hike? Because I really need to talk to you about something. So we went up to
Hmm.
Lynn Valley, we'll hike or whatever. And I basically told her, like, yeah, by the way, I do drag. This was before the estrogen and all that. So I
Yeah.
basically like, yeah, I do drag and stuff. She's like, oh, okay, whatever. And she's like, oh, are you gonna tell um, Gary about this? And I was like, yeah, I need to, whatever. So anyway, I invited them out to a burlesque show, and
Nice.
let's go to this burlesque show. And before the burlesque show, we went and had dinner, and I, um, sitting there, and I was nervous, and Carly, Gary's wife,
Yeah.
knew that I was going to tell them, and we were just having dinner. I was like, yeah. So by the way, this burlesque show, yeah. So my teacher is in it. I do burlesque, and he's just kind of like looking at me. He's like, yeah, and I do drag too. He's like, huh, really? Yeah. And that was kind of about it, right? Yeah, it
Yeah.
was super easy. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. And then we went to the
Yeah.
show,
Right
and
on.
yeah, they knew about me. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then a bunch of I ended up being in a show, and they actually came, and they actually
Amazing.
invited some other friends of mine. They didn't tell them that I was in the show until like
Yeah.
at the show, I think, or just before or whatever. But
Hmm.
yeah, I sing doing the show, and then I come back after, and it's the first time my friends saw me dressed up.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the weirdest feeling, like walking out and just like full acceptance and everything. Yeah.
Oh, I love that so much.
So
That's
yeah, so
beautiful.
it was good. So they knew about that side of me, and
Hmm.
yeah. But so during COVID, I I had to tell everybody that I was transitioning, and
Right.
it's hard because I don't see everybody.
That's
So
right.
I didn't want to text anybody about all of this. A lot of my burlesque friends who kind of knew, I felt really comfortable because they knew like all about the sides of me and stuff like that. So I texted
Yeah.
out with them and just kind of like, it's almost like testing the waters. And
Totally.
it's like every time that you tell one person, you just become stronger and stronger because you're like, I have
Yes.
acceptance over here. It's like, if these people don't, it's kind of like, even though I knew everyone would accept me. Yeah.
Yeah.
anyway, I ended up private messaging a bunch of friends anyway because I was going to tell them. Because you saw I posted a coming out letter basically on my Facebook page.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, so that I basically sent that to all my friends privately, and so that was, I forget when I did that, but yeah,
I think it was 2021, February 5th, 2021. I'm weird with dates sometimes. I'm pretty sure that was the date on it.
Yeah. So anyway, I wrote that on a Wednesday night, and I was working over on Bowen Island, and I'm coming back on the ferry, and I was just kind of like, fuck it, I'm posting it, and I posted it on my Facebook. And yeah, and basically as soon as I posted it, there was like I got a couple pings on my messenger or whatever. And it was the very first message that I had was actually Gary, who I just come out to.
Yeah.
It was his mom. Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. And just basically saying like all sweet things and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Were you met with mostly love and support through this?
100%. Yeah.
Yay.
I figured, I'll get a couple of messages and stuff like that on my Facebook. I think when I shared that letter with you on my Facebook, I think I had something like well over 100 messages of like just on the Facebook thing. But then I also had private messages in my inbox and stuff. So I probably had like 200 messages from people just we support you. This is awesome, whatever. And so even people who I didn't really expect to message me and stuff like that, like big construction people and stuff, they're just like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Like,
you do what you got to do. I love that.
Yeah. So that was one of the coolest things. And yeah. It was all right. So yeah. And then
I love that.
It was neat. Just, it's kind of like, oh, wow, I guess I'm out. Like, and then I still had the anxieties because there was obviously not everybody sees my Facebook. So, I mean, I did have to tell lots of people, but it's like you say, as soon as you tell one person, it's just so much easier to tell everyone. So now I was going into the construction, into like the lumber yard. I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, yeah, no, I'm trans. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah. And nobody cares. The only person that cares is me. And it's like, I think people are judging me, but I'm actually judging people to not be accepting.
Yeah, and I feel like that's such a valid point that you're making because in life, like we oftentimes like have a preconceived notion of what others are thinking, and a lot of times people are just not in a selfish way. I'm not trying to say it like that, but they're just worrying about themselves too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mean that to sound like you're only thinking about yourself because it's not. I don't mean it in that way. I just mean like they're thinking their own things, and I just think I'm so inspirational that you were met with so much love and support, and it just really gives me hope for this world that we're moving in the right direction, like where it's just normal. It's just okay, cool.
I feel like it is normal. I mean, there's people in other parts of the world who aren't as lucky. I feel very privileged, like, to be able to do all this, everything that I'm doing. Yeah, because I know lots of people who their family doesn't accept them, their friends don't accept them. It's not uncommon for me to hear somebody who lost like half of their friends, and it just goes to show you like the type of people that I surround myself with amazing people, and that's something I feel like I have a gift of doing that, of just finding like amazing people in my life.
Yeah, the good souls, like every community that you've talked to me about, no matter which area of your life, whether it's, rock climbing, burlesque, wherever, it's just so much love. And that just speaks to your love and your soul and your character. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, so I do feel very lucky. And this it's been super easy for me. I mean, I have my anxieties and stuff like that. I have my dysphorias because for a lot of time when I was doing classes with Chastity, we had this, like, they called it the box, and it was basically like this little dance room, and there's mirrors on two sides, and we'd be dancing, and I would see like Chastity dancing there, and I would see myself dancing there, and looking in the mirror, and I hated looking in that mirror. Like, it was not easy.
How do you feel when you look in the mirror now?
I feel happier. Yeah. I see the changes. Yeah. and there's still lots of stuff that, because it's such a long journey, I still do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I see lots of changing coming. So
Do you have a plan for what you're going to do, changes in the future?
uh most of it's just that a lot of it is waiting, and I've
hmm
talked to you. I haven't told a lot of people about it, but I'm supposed to be going to Spain for face surgery.
That's so exciting.
So that's kind of going to be like a game changer for me.
Yeah.
Getting to be able to like just be myself, because right now I don't go. If someone saw me who hasn't seen me for 2 years, they'll probably just see me and be like, oh, there's Dani. They have long hair, and wow, they got boobs too. Interesting. And yeah, and they probably wouldn't really see me as much different. I mean, I can go put on makeup and topper or whatever and go out, and I'm still like super tall and stuff, but my facial features give it away for me. So I would
Right.
still follow the stairs and everything. So I just go out however it makes me comfortable. So I'm not
Yeah.
like super feminine and have people like staring, and because that's not comfortable for me. It just gives me more.
No.
So
Yeah.
I feel like I can go out right now. I go out in feminine clothes, but might be like my bell bottom jeans and like a nice girl top or whatever, and
Yeah.
I feel comfortable.
hmm
So yeah, and try not to overdo it. So
hmm
it's, yeah, it feels right what
Yeah.
I'm doing
And
on.
you got to
And
do what feels right for sure.
yeah, and hopefully after I get back from the Spain trip, then
That's so exciting. Is that coming up soon?
so that's coming up in July. And
Wow.
I have surgery July 25th. I was supposed
So
to have surgery.
exciting.
Yeah, I was supposed to have surgery on May the 4th,
hmm
and I ended up going to a film festival, the burlesque festival,
Yeah.
um, about 4 or 5 weeks before. I ended up getting COVID.
Oh no.
I had to cancel the trip. So the day before we were going, because I'm taking my bestie Chastity there, and
Mhm.
the day before, 2 days before we were going to fly out, I had to cancel everything because they won't be
Yeah.
on me if I've had COVID within 7 weeks of surgery.
Oh wow.
So I would have been healed up for surgery, but it's still within that 7 weeks. So
Exactly.
yeah, so that devastated me. Like I was in bad shape for a couple weeks, where I just didn't want
hmm
to see anybody, and yeah, so yeah, and then slowly I kind of got back into it, and I'd see people because I told people like, hey, next time you see me, I'm gonna have like this new face, and this could be amazing and whatnot, and then that didn't happen, and yeah, it was just hard. So now I had to wait another almost 3 months for a new date, which the place that I'm going,
Wow.
they're just kind of like, oh, let's give you a new date. It's totally fine, and yeah, and they're just like super super amazing. So
Yay. That's great because I feel like with something like this, you have to feel good with who you're working with for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, no, I've done a lot of research where I'm going. I feel like this is the best place in the world. Um,
Yay. I'm
so
so excited for you.
yeah,
It's going to be so amazing.
yeah, so yeah, no, it's gonna be an interesting journey. Yeah, so I'll have that, and then I'll have a bunch of healing and
Yeah.
to do, and it'll be interesting because I don't know how, when I do come back, I'll be presenting a lot different too.
Yeah.
So with the feminization surgery, there's people all over the world. Not all over the world. There's lots of surgeons that do it. A lot of people go to Mexico. Some people go to, I believe it's Argentina.
hmm
Um, and down in the States, there was a doctor in Boston who was kind of like originally was kind of like my first choice before I even knew about the place that I'm going to.
Right.
I kind of saw results and stuff like that. But generally, what they do is they got to like open up your skull, trigger alert.
hmm
They basically have to.
Yeah.
So a lot of the old techniques, they basically cut you open right at your hairline,
hmm
peel the scalp down, do the stuff, and they basically shave your brow bone. So they
Right.
shave your brow bone down. Sometimes they'll do like the orbital sockets. They have to like shave out a little. They cut out basically your sinus cavity. They pull it out, shave all this down, and then they put that back because they can't shave that down too thin. So they'll do
Right.
that, and then they can do like a rhinoplasty. Um, Quite often they'll do like a jaw shape, so they'll shave the jaw, these parts, because you see like here
Hmm.
I have like boy jaw and a square jaw kind. So they basically change all of that, and then
Hmm.
they can do like the Adam's apple. They can do that.
Right.
I had mine done last July, where they shaved that all down last July. So
Cool.
somewhere else, but yeah. But in how I told you, a lot of people have like a scar along their forehead, that's visible because it's right at the hairline. But the place that I'm going
Right.
to, they actually go in through the back of my head. So they do
Oh.
the coronal approach from the back of the head. So, and they take like a strip of skin out of it.
Hmm.
Strip has hair follicles. So those hair follicles, they actually transplant back into the top of my head after.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, like a transplant at the same time.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's an interesting thing, and they use 3D modeling, so they actually like bolt a jig to my jaw, or bolt a guide to my jaw, and they use like ultrasonic cutters that don't hit
Wow.
bone. Whereas I don't think the places like in Mexico or all those other places, I don't know if they use those at all of the places.
Hmm.
The swelling's gonna be, I'll probably be a blowfish, but but they say that you're off pain medications within like a day or two. Yeah,
Oh my God, that's
yeah,
amazing.
and yeah, and it's just a lot of waiting for like swelling and stuff to go down and healing, and
Totally.
you don't see
Oh
your
wow.
results for probably like 6 months to a year.
Right. For everything to
Fine.
fully,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean you get the kind of the result within like a month or two, but
Yeah.
everything still go down for a long time.
Totally. Oh my
So
gosh, that's so exciting. And also, have you been to Spain? Because that's cool. Spain is
yeah,
on my bucket list.
I haven't, but we're gonna do a good trip. We're gonna do like Barcelona,
Yeah.
down to Valencia,
Oh,
Madrid, then down to Mar Malaga, and then eventually we'll end up in Marbella. So
wow.
have the surgery. So
That's
yeah,
amazing. Oh my God. I can't wait to hear about your trip.
yeah, no, it's yeah, it's an exciting journey, and yeah, no, I just I feel pretty fortunate to have so many like amazing friends and stuff around me. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, they did a surprise party for me a couple of weeks ago, where yeah, my friend took me go karting, and I came back, and there's just like all these people at Burgoo, and we're yeah,
Oh,
they were
it's
just
so
there to like,
fun.
wish me well and stuff, and then a bunch of other friends um, they have a little video of them all like wishing me well and stuff on this video, and which I've watched probably like 10 times now, and I can't not
Oh
cry.
yeah. Oh my God. I would be bawling. Like even just hearing about it. I'm like, oh my God.
So yeah, it's for yeah, but it's interesting because sometimes I'll post something and I'll get a lot of like love from it. People will just be like, "Oh,
Hmm.
this is amazing" or whatever, and I really want to reply to all these people, like, but sometimes I just feel like I have to like shut down because it's just like
Hmm.
it's all it's amazing. It's almost just, I don't know, for some reason it's just like, wow, I'm like, I got to take this in, and I just kind of like shut down a little bit, and yeah, it feels amazing, and
Yeah.
like I feel bad. I'm like, I'm not replying, but I'm just kind of like, just takes so much energy sometimes. Like,
Totally. I completely understand. I feel like you must be, I'm very empathic and I'm kind of getting that from you too. It's like you feel things on a different level and it is an exertion of energy like when you're responding because you're putting your heart into it. Like, I totally get that. And I think that's good to give yourself the space and then, come back whenever it feels right to you.
yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, and yeah, that's just
Mhm.
the way life is for me now. It's like I
Yeah.
kind of really I'm understanding a lot of things through this journey that I've never really understood before. Like I feel like I'm just a lot more just understanding about people's like anxieties and stuff. So
Mm.
growing up, I never had dysphoria. Once I started transitioning, I had crazy dysphoria.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why do I have it now and I didn't have it before?
Right.
Um, like I had I guess you say, I had the dysmorphia where I kind of didn't like my body and stuff like that. But now it's just like, yeah, it's different now. But yeah,
Mhm.
just, yeah, just a lot more like feelings, and just it's a fun journey. It's like
Yeah.
good. So
I
Yeah,
love this. The journey of self-discovery is always so amazing. And like each one of us, our paths are all so unique and it's just so incredible to hear these stories. It's what connects us and, helps everyone realize like you're not alone. And I just love that.
yeah. No, and it's interesting too because yeah, there's just so many people that are still in hiding right now. So I mentioned
Hmm.
how I have like so many Facebook friends online. Like my one page, I think I have quite a few hundred on this one page,
Yeah.
and lots of people who they dress up and stuff. That's their outlet. They're married. They can't tell their wives because they're afraid that they're gonna like get divorced, get their fired
Hmm.
from jobs and stuff. And there's just like a lot of fear out there, and some of that
Yeah.
valid, and some of the fear is maybe more in their head, and they don't realize how more
Right.
accepting people are. Because I think society around uses a lot of slurs and stuff. So when
Yeah.
I so when I'm around people, if someone says they might just say some kind of like not necessarily a transphobic slur or something like that, but they might just um, if they don't support something that's like a kind of like a ping for me. Yeah, like
Hmm.
I had friends who were talking about a transgender person one time, um, all my close friends, and they started talking about this transgender person. Um, and as soon as they just started talking about this person, I just like ping. I was like woke up and I'm just like, okay, I'm waiting for them to say something bad about this person. And this
Right.
whole conversation, it wasn't a long conversation, 10 minutes or so, and they were talking about this person, and I was like, well, they didn't really say anything wrong. Like, I mean, they used a few words that were not. They used a couple of the wrong words, but
Right.
it wasn't bad. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I was just like, oh wow, these people, they're safe. Like, and that's like my close group of friends. So anyway,
Yeah.
talking about this person, and it was interesting as they were talking about this person because they had no clue that this person was actually a friend of mine too. So
Right.
that they had no clue that I was in that community, and I knew this.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that was interesting. But yeah, the way that people reached out to me after when I came out and stuff, it gave me a lot of validation and stuff. So
Absolutely.
I think a lot more people need to be um, kind of vocal. They need to be they need to be more open towards stuff, like vocal about stuff, and just
Hmm.
show their support. Because whenever I was around people, I had some friends who would post about like pride, like, oh my God, look at these drag queens or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's a safe person for me. And it
Yeah.
would be like one little thing, somebody who posts like the flag around their profile picture or something like that. Boom, you're a safe
Hmm.
person. So
Absolutely.
so I had all of that, which was yeah. So I pick out all these safe people. So I always tell people now it's kind of like um, if if you're going to be an ally, which most people are, um, just be sure to show it once in a while. Because I myself,
Yes.
I was looking for it from everybody.
It's cool to hear that just by doing that, you're potentially helping
Yeah,
someone feel
yeah,
safe. That's
yeah.
great.
And it doesn't take anything much. It's just like on your Facebook page or whatever. Just even like have like I support I support uh, anything. Yeah, and just show
Yeah.
hey, and most of the time when they support anything, say it's even just like the queer community or just any
Hmm.
community, you know that person will generally be supporting like everybody.
Oh,
So,
yeah, for sure. It's just all
yeah,
about love and openness, right? And we're people. Like, let's just love on our people.
yeah. So, but
Yeah.
it is amazing to know how much love is out there and how people are accepting even people that
Yeah.
you don't think would be accepting. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think for me, when you were talking with Kelsey the other day, um,
Yes.
yeah, about coming out and how scared she was coming out. Um,
Hmm.
for me, it wasn't. It was just like I had all my ducks in a row, and it was just
Yeah.
like this is happening.
Yep.
And
Here we go.
as soon as I posted, I just kind of went numb and was like, whatever, this is what it is.
We're here. We're ready.
Yeah, I mean, we all have different things to lose too. So
Yes.
not like every case is the same for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, it's beautiful because it's like you can maybe find people that maybe have gone through something similar or maybe haven't, but there's always a way, you can resonate with different people or connect with one part of their story or maybe all of it. You never know. So that's the
Yeah.
beauty of it.
Yeah, but and it depends on like when if you're married or you're connected with somebody.
Yeah,
There's different circumstances for sure. Yeah.
absolutely. Do you have
It's
any like advice for anyone who may be struggling with coming out or anything like that?
I think if people were um so for myself, my biggest resource was Facebook. Like I connected on Facebook. It was interesting because I told you how I came into the Facebook, but it was actually
Mm-hmm.
very first Facebook friend ended up being I had like four friends maybe at the time, ended up being I think she was a drug dealer, felon or something like that. And it was kind of like, which I didn't know till later or whatever, but
Yeah.
you're just kind of connecting, you just random Facebook requests, just like boom, boom, this person, and some would or whatever. And then eventually I'd see somebody and their story would kind of resonate because
Mm-hmm.
it's great that a lot of people have their Facebooks and stuff public and
Yeah.
stuff. So I would see a lot of stuff and I'd send them a message like, hey, this is my story. It's like I'd love to connect on here. Some people they just delete you. Other people are like, hey, thanks for the message. Like, sure.
Yeah.
So that's how I connected with a lot of people.
Cool.
So I would say that if you wanted to connect with people who are similar to you, I'd definitely like Facebook or Instagram or some kind of social media.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
just
Kelsey found a lot of hers on TikTok. Like she's built a big community there. I find like like I know it existed before pandemic, but pandemic it blew up. Like it was everywhere. And yeah, she likes that platform a lot. And that's the beauty of social media. There's so many platforms. You can find which one kind of flows with you the best and go from there and build your community.
yeah, but I would even if you're like hiding or anything like that. So for me, I set up um just well basically a fake name
Right.
um
Yeah.
persona, and that was my Facebook page. People all knew that it was fake because they know
Hmm.
how private a lot of people are. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like I just message people. You can't just like go friend request people because they're just gonna kick you off because chances are you have no pictures, no profile, anything like
Right.
that. And there's so much crap on the internet and people taking over people's accounts and stuff. So there's a lot
Yeah.
more caution than when I started, but I would say send people messages and just be like, hey, this is my story. Like, just be genuine about it. And you connect
Yeah.
with people. And sometimes you connect with people and you're just like, shit, I picked the wrong person here. And you're just like, wow, we have this connection. Maybe it's like a little connection, maybe it's a big connection, but it's something.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
And then through those people, you just keep networking. And yeah, so like I say, I have a network of people like throughout the world, basically, all
Yeah.
everything. And yeah, that's the best resource I would say because I was looking around town. It's like, okay, I want like some trans networks in like Vancouver and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I found nothing. Like I knew some places or whatever, but they didn't really fit what I needed because
Right.
I wanted people who were the same as me, sort of, or
Yeah.
the same. We had basically all because there's such a diversity of the gender community that
Yes.
yeah, it's hard to find somebody that actually like you click with.
Totally.
So
Yeah. Gotta be the
yeah,
right vibe for sure.
yeah. So even in Vancouver now, I mean, I have lots of trans friends, but I would say that we are all quite a bit different. Like,
Yeah.
um, it's interesting how, yeah, I think if we had met now, maybe would not have connected, but we've made a bond back when we kind of had same views and whatever. So yeah,
That's
but I,
right.
I would say definitely social media, and yeah,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to call people up and just be like, hey, I need help with this because chances are, so that's how I started. So when someone
Yeah.
messages, I'll help them out. I mean, sometimes it can get overwhelming because when I
Yes.
started, I found someone who would talk to me and I just like keep talking to them. And now if you get that nowadays, sometimes it's kind of like, why does this person just keep bugging me all of the time? Like I like this person, but yeah, I know it's interesting, but I
Yeah.
appreciate how how social media was there for me, and I want to make sure that I'm there for other people as well. I
Absolutely.
important to have that. Just be
Definitely.
there for people, and even how little it is. It could be, like I say, it could be a tap on the shoulder in a bar that just says, "Hey, I
And a
see
big
you."
smile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, that was what was that? However many years ago that was, and I'll never forget.
Yeah. Oh,
Right?
and that's the thing. The impact that we can have as humans with other humans is you can do the smallest thing and it can make the biggest difference. So that's why it's good to just, always be mindful and try and be kind and smile and just, you never know what that might do for someone.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And I never thought I'd want to be open about everything, like publicly and stuff, but I
Yeah,
just feel like I should for the people who were in my position where they just don't feel safe to come out, and
that's
they just
right.
need to know that there's so many people, they don't see them because they're all in hiding, but I message so many people, like tons of my friends have other people that they know other than me that are trans
Mm-hmm.
or non-binary or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't know about them. I do.
Yep.
So so that's why you got to be careful too. Like if you ever have like a little slur, like "oh, that's gay," or "oh, look at that trans person," or say something negative,
Right.
they see it, and as soon as they see it, you're a red flag to them. So
Totally.
now was me growing up for a lot of people, and
Mm-hmm.
even like even when I was young, um, yeah, even like family members and stuff like that. They'd be watching like the Jerry Springer, Donahue, or something like that, and they would talk badly about something, and there's like, oh, look at these weirdos or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
that just killed me because it's kind of like, oh, I am that weirdo. Yeah.
Totally.
Whereas
Yeah.
now I embrace my weirdo.
I same here. I'm just like I am gonna be my weird self and I'm gonna live and love and that's what's up.
Yeah. So no, but it's great. Yeah, I'm feeling good about all of this, and there's just
Yeah.
so much life to live, and everything has its up and downs. Like I last week, I had like shit ton of anxiety just over like this trip.
Hmm.
Oh, is it gonna happen this time? And
Yeah.
stuff just kills you, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely.
That's
And like we
how,
always say, like healing's not linear. So, there's gonna be those days. We're still having a human experience. So it's okay if, you have an off day. Like it's gonna happen. But just like you're saying, keep going.
yeah, no. So yeah, I would say that like definitely, definitely people just be more open and just like of everything. I mean,
Yeah.
we've all we've all been ignorant about things. I sure the
Hmm.
hell.
Oh,
But
everyone. And the only way is to learn and to
yeah,
research and ask questions.
but yeah, you got to put in that learning, and like
Hmm.
even within the trans community, I feel like I know thousands and thousands of research just like online and stuff, like figuring shit out, and
Yeah.
I should know everything there is, but I don't. Sometimes something new comes up that challenges the beliefs that I have, and I'm just kind of like,
Hmm.
wow, that's new. It's like
Yeah.
I have to research that and figure shit out.
Totally. It's like, again, the internet has been so great because, like, I Google everything. I'm like, okay, let's go. And I get in these deep dives where I learn. I think that's why I have so much random knowledge because I just look up everything because it's
Yeah,
at our fingertips. Let's use it and educate ourselves so we can be more inclusive and learn about diversity in every range.
yeah. And I think one of the best resources out there too that I found is actually Reddit. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
I love Instagram. Instagram's amazing because you do connect with people there too. But Reddit, there's like so many subreddits and stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of crap on there too. But
Yeah.
there's so much information on there because you just like Google like anything like
Hmm.
HRT or whatever, and boom, you have like a shit ton of information there. And of course, it's
Yeah.
people's opinions and stuff like that. But you can usually weed through, and at least
Yeah.
you get an idea of stuff. Yeah,
Totally. It's like, anything. Take things with a grain of salt. Like
yeah,
use your discernment when you read. But yeah, that's right. And again, it's another way to connect. It's
yeah.
great.
because I mean, even like doctors, they know all of their stuff. They're book smart for all
Mhm.
of that. But even as like the HRT and all that kind of stuff is going on, there's new research and stuff that's kind of coming that's like, oh, this works. This seems to work better because now there's like, instead of there being like, I don't know how many thousands of patients before, now there's maybe like hundreds of thousands of patients.
Yeah.
So it's like all of this new information coming about. So
Hmm.
yeah,
That's right.
the,
Good to
just
stay on top of it, be informed. I like that.
yeah, life is just an ever changing journey of like information and just like yeah,
Growth and learning. It's always happening, never ends in a good
yeah,
way.
yeah. Just keep an open
Yeah,
mind and plug away.
absolutely. I love that. Do you have
Yourself
any
with people.
final words of wisdom for us? Because I feel like you've said so many amazing things, and I'm just like, you keep dropping all these good wisdom on us. But if you had anything else, I don't want to miss anything because this is a great story.
Yeah, no, I think the only thing is just like surround yourself with good people and yeah, just
Hmm.
read the red flags of people and just like as if I think if you surround yourself with good people, you're gonna do good in life and it'll be
Yeah.
your highs and lows and yeah, and just be like I was saying about allyship and stuff like that, just be vocal about stuff too and like
Hmm.
I see you out there. Like if you see somebody who might be like coming out or having a hard time, just like send them a message and just say, "Hey, I see you. I see your struggle. I'm sorry you're doing this, but I see you." Yeah, and I
I
think
love
that's
that.
the biggest. I think that's one of the biggest things that you can do. Like, um, yeah, even within like the burlesque community, I'll see like new performers and stuff, and I'll watch
Yeah.
them send them a message like, "Hey, you did a you fucking slayed up there." Yeah,
I love
like
that because
yeah,
it's like a vulnerable thing. Like, when you put yourself out there, it's vulnerable, and to just have that support, it's so
yeah.
beautiful.
And I mean, a lot of people, maybe if it's someone that's new in a community or something, they don't know anybody. So even just having that validation from anybody is just like, this is awesome. Like, I just feel so.
Yeah,
And when you lift someone's spirits, they just do better in life. And
it's so true. I love that.
I think that's what we all need is just like good people around. So
I
yeah,
agree. And like what I love too is you even went out and found people and built your own community via social media. So it's like even if you are someone who maybe doesn't have people around you physically who resonate with you, like Danny did, you can go out and, find your people, find your tribe because they're
yeah.
out there.
Oh,
100% they're
absolutely.
out there.
Yeah, yeah. I say that if you are, I definitely if you are in hiding, you feel alone or whatever, definitely pop into social media. I mean, there's a lot of shit out there, but you you got to weed through and connect with people who are on like the same page as you and just make. But at the same time, read the red flags. And I mean,
Yes.
if they're kind of like more of a toxic person, you even though they might be the same, you need to move on. But
Absolutely.
eventually find people who click with you and through them they might have some friends you network and yeah like I
Yeah.
say I started out with like one or two friends and it just like snowballed to like a few hundred within like,
It's
no time. Yeah,
amazing. It's so amazing. And the right people for you, you'll feel it and they'll bring out your best and it'll just feel so natural.
I feel blessed to have so many great friends around me. It's just like yeah I love them all and it's just like I feel lucky to have that and I just wish
Yeah.
I wish everybody had the same thing as me so
Yeah, totally. I'm so happy. Like this was such a good conversation. I was like, I feel like we could talk for literally 5 hours. I was like,
I
it's
probably
so
say,
good.
yeah, no, there's still so much information out there, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
I enjoyed this and I appreciate having this platform to tell my story,
Yeah,
help someone else who's
of
out there,
course.
or help
We're
educate the people around who maybe don't really realize what I'm going through, or yeah, and
Definitely. And thank you for being so open and like any questions I have, because I always want to make sure I'm respectful in what I'm asking, but I'm just genuinely curious about all of the process. And I feel like you sharing, again, it just helps educate people and put it out there. So I really do appreciate you being so open with us. And we're going to definitely have you on again because we're on a journey. We are on a journey,
we,
everyone.
yes, we are. It's gonna be a fun journey. So yeah, I imagine I can see a lot of good things, a lot of good talk.
Yes.
It'd be
Oh,
great.
so good. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you too in your journey. I can't wait to be updated on the process and see how everything goes. I'll 100% be wishing you all the good vibes. And the tea drinkers out there will also be sending all the good vibes because that's what we do here.
No, I appreciate it, and I'm glad that you'll be along for this journey now too, and you can just watch it.
Yeah,
It's fun
I'm
when I
so
have
excited.
lots of people along for the ride with me, because yeah, it's
That's just all that love and support, right? It's perfect because no matter how the energy is going to you, you will feel it and it'll be amazing.
no, I think it's win-win for both people. Like, people get
Yeah.
educated, they're curious, and for me, I get that support, and I get to have a yeah, I get to talk about it, and which is
Yeah.
healthy. Yeah,
Absolutely. Oh my God. Yes. Preach
yeah,
on that.
yeah. No, I appreciate you having me on. This is amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll get your social medias too. So people, if they resonated and they want to connect, let us know. How can they reach you?
Yeah, so I have my Instagram, which is Dani Jacobs 72. That's probably the best way to,
Okay.
um, yeah, even though my account is private, um, yeah, just shoot. I weed out my thing quite a bit because I'm fairly private on it, but just shoot me a message and say, hey, I saw you on the podcast, or what.
Yeah.
Just usually if their account's private too, I'll just be like, yeah, sorry. But when I see something that maybe resonates with me or whatnot, but yeah, there's so much on social media right now that you do have to be careful. Um,
Totally.
but shoot me a message and I will eventually find it. And sometimes the message get lost, so maybe I delete you, but then I'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, sorry, I didn't mean to. But yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that happens to me too. Oh my God. The messages can get lost so easy. So I totally get you there.
but I'll definitely want to be there for people who need the support and
Yeah.
want to
That's
connect or
great.
talk. So yeah, be good.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing the socials. I'll make sure to, if you're watching on YouTube, everything's going to be linked in the description box. If you're listening, it'll all be linked. And also, if you're checking out my Instagram, which you probably are if you're listening or watching, everything's going to be linked. She's going to be linked everywhere. So there'll be no difficulty in locating the lovely Dani.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This has been great. So good.
Oh, no, thank you again. Like, I really do appreciate it because these stories, like I said, are so special. And I just, like I said, I feel honored that I get to share them because I just think it's amazing and I want to spread that love and light. So I do appreciate you so, so much. So we're going to call that tea time for today, everyone. But thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe. That'll build our community up. And also, if you're listening on podcast, give a rating and you can subscribe there as well. And I appreciate every single one of you tuning in. It really does mean a lot to me and love connecting. So reach out anytime and wishing you love and light. We'll see you next time.